things were getting harder to ignore at home, but I was just trying to live a regular life, a child life. Just trying to be a kid and have fun. Let's get started. Now with my dad out of the picture and stepdad at home, things of course were a little bit different now. The dynamics were different, and he apparently had three older kids. They're teenager kids, two males and a girl, and they would come over a lot. At some point, I think they lived with us for a while. Remember, I'm still like maybe 10, 11. So they're there, and then one of them was nice. The other two were not really friendly, but we all had to somehow coexist, right? I was big into baseball. Any kid would. Big into the baseball games, and they were big into soccer. And at the time, I think there was a World Cup, 1978, 80. I don't remember. But I remember I was watching a baseball game on the TV, and they came in. They took over the television. They put on their soccer game, and there was a radio right next to the TV, and I just lay there in the living room to listen to my game. I did not have a TV in my room, so we start the battle of the volume. They put the TV higher, and I put my radio higher. They put the TV higher, and once again, here I go again. It got pretty loud. We're all sitting there in the living room, everyone. And out of nowhere, man, stepdad comes out of the bedroom. He grabs my arm, and guess what he did? He decides to take me to another room, and he whips out his belt, and he hits me so hard, my back, everywhere I thought that was lasting forever, this beating. And I'm thinking, where's my mom? Where's my mom to here to save me against this aggressor? Why is he doing this to start? So he's tired. You can tell he's tired beating me up with his belt. And then my mom eventually comes over, and I'm crying and not understanding why this happened. And I remember my back was so red that I missed school for a week. Now, the good thing is that me as a child, I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to school for a week. That's awesome, right? But it did hurt me. And I remember the emotion of kind of like betrayal from my mom for not being there. And I think that's what hurt me the most. Now, these kids, eventually, I think they were moving out, in and out. I think they had to get their own room, their own house, whatever. But they kept on telling me, hey, we're going to take over your family. We're going to take over your mom. So all you kids are going to leave, and then your mom's going to be our mom now. They kept on telling us that they were going to send us to an orphanage back in the day. So I'm scared. Like, is this really happening? Because I kind of thought that it was. So it kept on going for a long time. And I'm thinking back in my head, man, they're really going to replace us, right? It wasn't the case. I asked my mom about it. She said no. She kind of brushed it off. No, we're not going to replace you guys. We're not going to send you anywhere. You're not going to go to an orphanage. It's fine. But in the back of my head, it was still there. I'm a kid. Not everything was horrible, of course. I was a kid, play with the neighbors, ride our bikes like any other kid. Good times. I'm starting to grow up now and understand a little bit more things. I was out there, drinking water from the garden hose like any kid would have, riding my skateboard, lost a few teeth, wasn't very good at the skateboard thing, and I was just having a better time, but I still have the threat. There was still chaos at the house. So I found a lot of happiness in the streets. With my neighbor friends. It was still a very confusing time, but things were improving. And there was a lot of stuff going on, but it is what it is at this point. We'll leave it there. Now these days, I still didn't understand why he beat me up so bad with that belt. But now these days, whenever my 6-year-old son with ADHD cannot control his emotions or he gets upset or whatever it is, of course I don't grab the belt, you know. Um, I actually listen to him. I say, hey, what's going on? Do you need time out? I leave him alone if he needs it. I try to meet him where he's at emotionally at his age. And, it's very difficult. It takes a lot of patience for me to get there sometimes. Depends what's happening with him. But I try to see it differently. I try to approach it differently without any violence or anything like that. And it works, at least for us. I came to realize that at the end of the day, through all these experiences, I was just trying to be a good dad, and that's all it is. So if you ever had any experiences like this, ever drank from the garden hose, rode your bike, came home when the lights turned on in the street, drop a comment. Remember, stay strong, stay present. Pops.